Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the Aston Martin DBX, says Aston Martin right there. This is the key of the vehicle. This is to unlock the boot, rather open the boot of the vehicle. This is to unlock the car, lock the car. Yeah, that is the key, and straight ahead of me is this Aston Martin DBX. Yeah, you see my watch face? Yeah, I'm feeling like James Bond today. Anyway, straight away we're going to be opening the engine bay of this vehicle. And there it is, 4 litre twin turbo V8 Aston Martin hand built in Wales, final inspection by Richard Stephenson. Well, we all know this is a Mercedes unit, a Mercedes 4 litre bi-turbo engine which powers this Aston Martin car. Why? We'll come to that in a bit. There's insulation and functional air dams. Oh my god, yeah, those hood scoops are actually functional on this car. There's a strut bar right ahead, and you know, this actually looks pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of a Mini Cooper. We're going to close the engine bay right away, which means that I have to do it a little softly, although technically I should bang it down. That actually fits the best. However, this is a 4.5 crore car, which means I have to be really very careful. Now, from certain angles, it definitely looks like something you've never seen before, because this is a proper Aston Martin SUV. From any angle you see it, it screams Aston Martin. You see the big grille up front. Obviously, it's got parking sensors right there and a front parking camera, a massive grille, Aston Martin logo, bi-LED lights, very beautiful. Inside, you've got a lot of chrome as well. Meanwhile, the indicator placement is down, which also doubles up as a DRL. This is actually functional. I kid you not, this is functional. Let me show it from the other side. Okay, this is the DRL. It draws in from here and pushes it out from where? Yes, from here. This is very much functional, super duper cool and awesome as well. Looks really nice indeed. I like it for sure. Meanwhile, this particular color scheme looks fantastic on this vehicle. Now the ride height is increased. This is actually quite big in terms of size. 5 meters in length, wheelbase is more than 3 meters, width is almost 2 meters, and massive 22-inch wheels. In fact, as an option, you can get 23 inches as well, which is kind of an overkill. 285, 40, 22 is the size of the front tire, says Aston Martin. There on the brake caliper, I love the alloy wheel design. You can see the suspension because the ride height is obviously raised. Beautiful treatment everywhere. You obviously get 360-degree parking cameras indicated on the outside rear view mirrors. The door handles sit flush because they pop out when you unlock the car. Meanwhile, okay, the rear tire size is even bigger. That's right, 325, 35, 22s. Of course, Aston Martin written right there. Actually, the door handles don't pop out. You have to push it. Same is the case with the Mahindra XUV700, the lower variants. And here is where the fuel goes. Like, I love the treatment, the silver finishing, and of course, you get a massive roof as well. I mean, not the roof, the glass roof on the inside. These are roof rails which are actually functional on this vehicle, and the lights are beautiful at the rear. In fact, kind of reminds you of the Vantage. The rear fog light is on at the moment, but this actually doubles up as the rear reversing light. Actually, rear parking sensors. Where is the reverse parking camera? Well, it obviously pops out from here. Meanwhile, you get these metal treatment or finish for the exhaust, which also looks really very nice. And of course, because you see there, the exhaust is pumping at the moment. Really nice design treatment. I love how this has been done and how the light blinks. Okay, there's a rear spoiler. However, there's no rear wiper because Aston Martin believes that the aerodynamics as such, it pushes out water. It doesn't need a rear wiper. And I love the treatment of the light. So much like the Vantage, the Aston Martin Vantage. Why am I saying Vantage? Because I want this car. That's how amazing it is. Let's do one thing. Let's open the boot of the vehicle. And there, okay, it's a powered tailgate. Why is it not powering right now? There it is, powering. So the camera is hidden here, by the way. Very Mercedes-like light placement there. This button again, so much like a Mercedes car. Powered tailgate, of course. Boot is actually massive in terms of size. And below this tray, okay, I don't know why there's a tray here, but again, this is also very similar to a Mercedes car. Let's open this. You get a spare wheel. 195, 65, 21 is the size of the spare tire, which is not an alloy, but yeah, you get a spare wheel. Now this actually reclines 40, 20, 40 format. To increase the boot carrying capacity, you can, okay, recline the seat by pressing a button there. I pressed a button, it's not happening there. It's not going completely. Maybe a little push and shove would really help. You can decrease the ride height of the vehicle by pressing this button so that it's easier to access the boot, easier to throw in stuff. So you've got this function here too. I think the boot is massive. Let's press this button to close the boot, and there it comes down and closes the boot of the vehicle. Guys, if you're liking this Aston Martin, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. What are you guys waiting for? Let's get into the rear. Okay, I'm shouting too much. I'm so excited. Frameless doors. Wow. Press this button, one touch, roll down. Does it go completely inside? Yes, it does. Okay, there was a snake here, but I'm going to take my chances. You see, it looks absolutely stunning with the windows down. Meanwhile, the rear seat has good amount of space. In fact, there is a hump in the center, otherwise it's fantastic space. Seats are very comfy. You can recline the seat like this to increase the boot carrying capacity, but I don't think you are going to be carrying a lot of stuff in an Aston Martin. You're not a transporter, remember? Okay, seats have this amazing treatment which looks beautiful indeed, and obviously 3 proper seat belts, Aston Martin logo on the headrest as well. The front seat does not have height adjust for the headrest, but it's very cool and sporty. There's so much space on offer. There's good amount of leg room, there's good amount of knee room. Under thigh support is also decent, and headroom, well, you can see it for yourself. Just about adequate, I would feel, for someone as tall as me. This is also work of art. There's light placement there. Air conditioning went here. This is not height adjustable, but I love the way the whole car has been done. In fact, even the door handles are a work of art, and oh my god, it's so amazing. It gets this massive roof which brings in a lot of airy feeling. This does not open though. Okay, seats have a proper recline angle, but 3 people, no. Car is wide enough, but this hump is massive. 2 USB charging sockets. There's insect. Dude, where are you going? Hey, James Bond is trying to catch you. Okay, anyways, we'll figure him out later. It gets a 3-zone climate control, air conditioning, and you can also opt for ventilated seats. Yeah, ventilated seats at the rear as well as the front. Okay, you can lock and unlock the car from the rear, and 2 USB charging sockets, air conditioning vents. The quality of materials is absolutely fantastic. We're just going to shut this for a moment. Why it's not shutting? Oh, it is. Actually, it's not very responsive. It's slightly slow as such. And I keep this button pressed. This dude is not. Oh my god, it's got in the glove box. Very nice, very nice. Oh, and it's come out from AC vent. What is happening? Sorry. It's so slippery. This mosquito or insect has the aerodynamics of I don't know what. Okay, you also get heated seats at the rear, which is again very cool indeed. Scooped out seat back, magazine holders as well, but comfort levels are fantabulous. The dashboard is a work of art. It's not groundbreaking or out of the world as such, but so much leather in this car. This car has leather almost everywhere. I am telling you, this is a proper leather shop inside. Okay, nothing has been sold, you can't call it a shop, but a leather showcase everywhere. Steering wheel, roof, sun visors, everywhere there's so much leather. Let's get outside. Okay, first and foremost, let me close this window. Another thing is when you kind of open the door now, it puts the window up or down. So here you see, when I close it, there it goes inside. Again, as soon as I try to open it, it comes down. So that feature is also there. Let's see, does it have soft door close? Oh my goodness, it's not going inside. No soft door close at this price point is kind of shocking. I can't believe it doesn't have soft door close. Let me see if it goes inside. 3, 2, 1. No, not happening. Never mind. Enough of nitpicking. Let's get inside to the driver's side, because a lot of Mercedes bits on this car, like crazy amount of Mercedes bits. First and foremost, let's open this, and every time I press it, you see the window goes down a bit. Oh my god, the front seats are massively awesome. The comfort levels on offer are absolutely fantabulous. Electric adjust, memory function, you can save up to 3 people settings, and then you can obviously adjust your lumbar and whatnot. There is a proper dead pedal right there, and this is exactly like what you see in Mercedes cars, okay, the old ones. Okay, electric parking brake. These are the controls for the headlights. It gets the automatic headlight function. This is for the fog light, the rear fog light, and overall it has amazing level of leather inside. Okay, see, the quality is amazing. Okay, these are the controls for the power windows. Obviously it's a one touch up and down. Power windows a little on the slower side. Okay, it could have been a little faster. Meanwhile, you got metal treatment here. This is for the child lock function, and I love the design of this, sort of like an anchor. Let's open the window, and there you see, with the window down, frameless, obviously looks super duper awesome. I love the design of this car, but rear sunblinds should have been offered for sure. Okay, now on in the inside, first and foremost, it says DBX, and you know, hand built in waves, and all this is written on the side, which is pretty cool when you enter the car, so you remember that. Let's turn off the air conditioning. Air conditioning is an absolute chiller. There is another mosquito or insect which has come. What's wrong with you, dude? Just exit the car. And this one looks very deadly. Okay, you got an auto dimming inside rear view mirror. Let me open all the windows of the car, so they kind of exit. You know what? This is also finished in leather. I get you now. This is also finished in leather, and you obviously get a mirror along with the light. And there's another sun visor. This is so amazing. Okay, you've got light placement on the top, and here, like obviously it's the same as that one, but you can remove it like this and place it to block the sun. This is so freaking amazing. I love it, absolutely love it. Got plenty of airbags as well. The steering wheel is super duper awesome to hold. Obviously it's full of leather and piano black finishing. These are for the cruise control. This is for picking a call up, this is for declining a call, and this is for lane keep assist, I believe. Okay, these buttons, because there is the lane keep button here, you can turn it on as such. These are the controls for that multi-information display. Now that is a 12.3 inch unit. It's actually very nice, and you know what, it changes its color according to the mode you are in, and it does it in a lot of fashion as such. Check that out. Okay, individual mode, GT mode, and then there is obviously the terrain mode as well. Which one do you like the most? I think Sport Plus looks really very awesome, Terrain Plus, and obviously the ride height also gets altered depending on the mode you're driving in. Okay, here you see whenever I make a change, it actually shows it in this infotainment system, which by the way is again sourced from Mercedes. This is a 10.25 inch unit. It's not a touchscreen because it's an older unit. That's the reason you get a command controller here along with a touchpad as well. What do you think of the screen? It gets 64 colors for the ambient lighting. Yeah, 64 colors for the ambient lighting. I'm trying to browse through it now. So used to touchscreen now. There you see 64 colors, and the usual Mercedes affair is there inside as well. So even if I get into say drive modes, here engine data again very similar to what we see in Mercedes cars. So a lot of Mercedes bits in this car because Mercedes is obviously invested in Aston Martin. In fact, the ex-Mercedes employee, or rather someone senior from the management, is the CEO of Aston Martin, and now Aston Martin is owned by a Formula 1 team. The Lawrence Stroll actually owns the company. If you watch Formula 1, you will understand. This is the engine start button. These are the gear selectors. The position is a little different and awkward, I would say. Let's get into reverse right away. There you see 360-degree camera, again very much Mercedes-like, and you obviously get adaptive guidelines as well. And I can, oh my, why am I so used to touch? Okay, how do I browse like this? You can actually change the angle as you so wish. But yeah, this is an old system. They're definitely going to be updating that as well in due course of time. Let's get into park. Now, so much leather on this car. In fact, press this button. This button is also so nicely done. There's good amount of space on offer in the glove box as well. Yeah, there's good amount of space on offer in the glove box, and you need to slot this into place. Okay, that's not the best alignment as such. Meanwhile, look at this treatment on the seats as well, and you can get ventilated seats for the front as well as heating. Now these are the controls, sort of a touch control for the air conditioning system. AC vents have a beautiful design as well, but this screen has so much information, like the usual bits you would expect, and everything is like actually a Mercedes behind, so not much to go into. Lovely leather stitching everywhere in this car. In fact, I'll show you another cool bit. When you press this, it actually opens. When you do it the other way, it closes. Maybe it should have been the other way. This is actually finished in Alcantara. Who finishes the sunblind in Alcantara? Well, Aston Martin does it for sure. This is so freaking premium and amazing. I love it. Okay, but I need to open it to get in some airy feeling. This does not open, which is a bit disappointing for sure. Okay, now there's so many packs which are available. Let me remove the key first. There are I think 11 packs which are available for this car. You have a proper place to slot the key as well. This is a proper place to slot the key of the vehicle. This is for the volume control, and this is telling the airbag whether it's turned on or off for the co-passenger. Lot of buttons, twin cup holders. Below here there is storage space along with a lot of other Mercedes bits like a power socket, a SD, along with 2 USB charging sockets as well. Leather everywhere, piano black finishing. Okay, now this is to turn on and off the screen. You press this button and then you can turn off the screen. There it's showing the Aston Martin clock. I'll just turn it on. It shows Aston Martin. This is for the lane keep assist. This is for stop start system. This is for parking sensors. This is for the camera. This is for the hazard light. This is for the mode selector, the drive mode selector, and this is to reduce the ride height of the car, and this is for downhill assist. Very simple, nothing complex as such. Okay, now this screen has a lot of information, and then you can browse through if you so wish. So you can get into the home function and you can decide whatever menu you want to see. But honestly, yeah, it's not very sophisticated. Like obviously with the recent Mercedes screen, I'm not even talking about the one in the S-Class, we have got really pampered. So whatever you can do on the left screen, you can obviously do on the right screen. There's a minor lag as such. It's not very quick in terms of response, and you move the steering wheel, doesn't matter because still the paddles don't move and they are finished in amazing metal. Okay, now you don't have a lever on the right side, you have one on the left side, either a stock. Now again, this is sourced from Mercedes. This is the controller for the wipers, and the wipers work very well. They are opposite wipers, might remind you of the Civic and the Tata Hexa as well, and they do a great job. Now the steering wheel gets the heating function. You can see it has this heating thingy, okay, and it is adjustable both for reach as well as rake, and this is of course an electric steering wheel. You wouldn't expect anything less from an Aston Martin. The quality levels are very nice. I actually like it. Like cabin is super duper luxurious, and then you wonder where do you hide your stuff. Don't worry, you have actually secret storage space here below. Yeah, there's a secret storage space, and there's a button to open the boot. Why is the button so hidden? Is this a secret boot? Probably yes, but there is so much space on offer right there. That's also interesting. I love the seats on this car. I think they have done a fantastic job. They almost hug you, and it goes with the sporty profile of this vehicle. Let's do one thing. Let's turn off the car. There I press this button, the car turns off, and you know, nicely the instrument cluster also says bye. Okay, bye instrument cluster. I have kept the door open actually. Why? Because if you notice, the door actually swings a little upwards when you open the car. Why? Because all Aston Martins have that, so that you don't hit a curb while getting out. But this car has such a great ride height, you don't have to worry about that at all. Okay, lot of windows are open in this car, and now we are going to use the key to close the windows, which feature should be there in this for sure. Here I press it, and there all the windows roll up. The thing is, it obviously does not have an opening sunroof, so that cannot open or close as such. Now the radars are placed here. Again, very similar systems to what we have seen in Mercedes cars, so you're not going to really bother about that much, although this key is not very intuitive to use. But when you turn on the car, you can see the lights which flash below. That's also cool. I think this car is absolutely gorgeous. It is a stunning looking vehicle. My goodness, I love this Aston Martin. What a design. They have kind of nailed it, but how is it to drive? Well, that's a crucial question. Alright, we're all set to go, which means we get into vehicle first. There is the sports display, and we're going to turn off the air conditioning as well. Air conditioning completely off. We're going to change the drive mode too. So the mode we are going to launch is of course going to be Sport Plus. Yeah, that's the full bananas. It's showing me display here as well. Air conditioning is completely off. Left foot on the brake, hazard light off. Right foot on the accelerator. Let's turn on the wipers as well. Revving the motor, rev still almost 4000 RPM, makes quite a nice sound. Into drive mode of course, and here we go. Absolutely bonkers performance. This car really takes off, and the engine is beautifully tuned by Aston Martin in this car, which is of course a Mercedes 4-litre bi-turbo V8, which is not producing the most power and torque which we have seen in Mercedes cars, but 550 horsepower at 6,500 RPM, and the torque output is equally impressive at get into the throttle, it absolutely immediately goes ahead. Okay, torque output of 700 Newton meters, which comes in between 2000 to 5000 RPM, which means that the mid-range is really very strong, and the mid-range is actually very enjoyable in this car. But this is a car which has amazing drivability. Any speed, just get onto the throttle, it absolutely lunges ahead. And the best part is, it sounds so good. So there are 6 drive modes on offer. Terrain Plus, Terrain, there's a GT mode which is like a comfort mode. There's individual where you can configure a lot of things. There's Sport, and there's Sport Plus. Sport Plus is the most extreme, wherein traction control turns off, but this is all-wheel drive of course, wherein it actually channels 47% power, up to 47% power to the front wheels and 53% to the rear wheels. But it has got an electronically controlled active center transfer case which decides how it needs to channel the power, and then it has got a limited slip diff at the rear which decides how it wants to channel power between in the independent rear wheels to ensure there is a lot of grip on offer at every given moment. Obviously the tires are massive in terms of size, and this is a car which does weigh up quite a bit. The weight of this car 2250 kgs or so, 45 kgs actually, 2 to 5 kgs, which is heavy, but you don't feel the weight as such. And this engine is absolutely bonkers in the way it performs. Made it to a 9-speed torque converter gearbox, which is decently quick with shifts, but problem is when you drive it really hard and fast now, you have to use the paddles because it sometimes kind of fumbles there. But honestly, I don't have anything to complain about. Every time I go into the throttle, I'm smiling like a mad person. Red line's close to 7000 RPM, but the gear shifts are really fast. And then if you get into the paddles now, it gives you complete manual control things. You know, every time I'm getting into the paddles and maybe downshifting, it is absolutely firing from the exhaust. The sound is unbelievably good. Okay, the top speed 290 kilometers per hour, less than the Urus, less than the Bentayga, but nobody really cares because honestly the performance is maddening here for a car which weighs this much. Feels really awesome, but 0 to 100 takes its own sweet time of 4.5 seconds, but it's more than what meets the eye, believe me on that. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, 2000 RPM. Above 7000 RPM, it's like redlining close to 7200 RPM, which makes it blisteringly quick. Like I was telling you, top speed 290 kilometers per hour, you would not really care about that. Now when you put it into sport mode, a lot of changes happen. Obviously the engine, the gearbox, the steering wheel, even the suspension. It uses air suspension, which gives it a very nice ride, but you can't get away from the fact that the tire profile is really very low, and that's the reason it kind of feels a little disturbing on bad roads. But then there's another small issue, which happens to be the fact that the overall chassis and everything is on the stiffer side, and that stiffness can be felt on bad roads. On good roads, obviously it is glued to the road. Fantastic aerodynamics, really a lot of grunt, and every time you get on the throttle, there is no hesitation in the power delivery. This Mercedes motor is absolutely stunningly smooth, very punchy, very refined, and very quick as well. Okay, because it's not about the 0 to 100 km per hour time. I know 4.5 seconds is not fast, but other than that, leave that 4.5 second aside, it absolutely pushes ahead. Okay, there is this blind spot monitor which blinks on the outside rear view mirrors to tell you that if there's someone in your blind spot as well. Lot of tech in that sense. And this cluster, okay, the right one, the tachometer, can also be programmed. So you can get here and you can decide what you want to see in set, which means I can see how much is the distance to empty, what is the real-time fuel efficiency. It's saying 3.7 kilometers per liter. There is the map, and then you can just see the DBX name as well. It doesn't happen for the speedometer though. It only happens for this one, and here also in the multi-information display you can browse through a lot of things, but that doesn't matter. What matters is the throttle response is super crisp and super precise. I love the fact that this engine is an absolute screamer in the top end, yet in the bottom end it is so tractable, so drivable. You drive it in the city, you had no issues at all because it just feels so smooth, so refined. And then because a lot of things have been sourced from Mercedes-Benz, here you also get active brake assist, which seems to be a system which is directly lifted from Merc, and then you come onto bad roads, you want to slow down, but there is no issue. This is Aston Martin which you can drive in all conditions without thinking twice at all, and the main reason for that is the ground clearance. Now it has a ground clearance which varies between 140 mm till 235 mm. That's a lot. You can actually raise the car by 45 mm, but it reduces itself by another 50 mm. I mean, other than the raising part, it reduces by 50 mm in sport mode, just to give you that amazing handling. And the steering is really precise. It's an electric steering, but the best thing about the steering is the precision. It has a lot of weight even at low speeds, and as you push it hard, it has even more weight, feels very well glued to the road, and gives you pinpoint accuracy. Body control, very nice indeed. You know why? Because it's got a 48 volt system on the anti-roll bars, electric anti-roll bars, which ensure that there is proper weight transfer as well. And you get into the throttle and you realize, my goodness, even the traction control, this is an absolute bonkers machine. I love the performance of this car, the sound. It sounds louder than what I've heard from AMGs for most of the part, and that is because the exhaust tuning is bonkers. And you can actually go ahead and make it even further bonkers. How? Mercedes obviously has a fantastic motor, but Aston Martin has a aftermarket exhaust on offer, which will make sure that everybody knows that you're driving a DBX and Aston Martin. Although I think James Bond needs to be a little coy, a little silent when he's going on his mission. So then when you get into the GT mode, which you will do right away right now, okay, here I'm going to change the mode. It is a different character altogether. Here in GT mode, it becomes so silent, it becomes so relaxed. You can't feel the madness which is going to erupt usually from this vehicle. Smoothness and refinement is absolutely bonkers. You're going to get into vehicle data. Here, there it is showing how much power and torque is being channeled. You know what? It can channel 100% of the power and torque to the rear wheels because of the amazing systems on this car, and it does it so smoothly. There is no loss of traction. They have given it traction control, it doesn't need it. Okay, if you drive it on a track and if you go really hard around the corners, it has a bit of a tendency to lift its rear and give you some amount of oversteer, but there is no feeling of understeer in this car, which is such a beautiful feeling. Okay, and braking performance is absolutely stunning. Okay, we're going to make a quick stop here, and I've turned on the hazard lights for the same. Beautifully well-weighed brakes, very accurate, supreme stopping power. You don't realize the car which weighs so much can stop so beautifully and nicely. Now we're going to get again into Sport Plus, because that is the mode you need to drive on. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Now because I am manually shifting gears, this is what's happening at the moment, and the road is kind of dirty. There's no sense of aquaplaning no matter how hard you accelerate, because the tires are massive and the electronic systems work beautifully well to ensure there's power delivery, which is very smoothly done on this car. What a machine. Okay, ride quality, like I told you, S suspension for the win. Really rides smoothly. It's so refined, and here I've got it into automatic mode for the gearbox at the moment. And like I told you, these modes, they change a lot of parameters, including the air suspension height. Now it has got off-road mode as well, which basically no owner is really going to use it, but in case you want to take the car off-road, be my guest, you can do that as well. It's capable off the road too, with all this slew of systems. But you know what, while it corners now, it is so glued because it also got torque vectoring by braking, which applies brakes to the inside wheels to ensure optimum traction from this Aston Martin. Oh my god, what a beast. The horn is actually nice and loud. Only thing, it's a little difficult to press with one finger, so I press it like this in the center. Usually Noreen presses the horn like that. Okay, that's her style of doing it. I'm so sorry for copying her style today. She's looking at me like this grunty face at the moment, I know, because she doesn't like James Bond at all. Oh my god, every time you leave the throttle, the way the exhaust fires is so beautiful and so soothing as well. You can exactly feel where the front wheels are pointing. That is the level of precision in terms of handling, in terms of the overall feel of the car. Now of course, the big fat yellow elephant in the room is the Lamborghini Urus, which is its direct rival. Which one should you buy? Well, that's a good question. If you have the money, buy both. But if you don't, you have to buy one. I will tell you which one. First and foremost, the Urus is a very nice car, no doubt about it, but it's not a Lamborghini in that sense. The Aston Martin DBX is definitely an Aston in the real sense because it, okay, I fumble because of the acceleration being so amazing. Okay, the Aston Martin DBX is an Aston Martin in the real sense. It feels special. There doesn't seem to be any cutting around just to be like, oh, you know what, we make an SUV, but hey, we couldn't get there completely, so our badge is going to help us sell. No, none of that. This is a true-blooded Aston Martin in the real sense, an all-weather and all-condition SUV, which is absolutely practical. I know if you want to take 4 people, you don't have to buy an SUV. You can get an Aston Martin Rapide, whatever you want to call it. My pronunciation pretty bad there. Okay, and the steering wheel is actually light enough for maneuverability, and onto the throttle, the reaction is immediate, and then the gear shifts also happen fast enough. Keep the motor on the boil, you're always going to smile. Now, fuel efficiency is somewhere between 3 to 8 kilometers per liter, depending entirely on your driving style and the fuel tank capacity. Who really cares about it? Okay, it must be massive. What I really care about is the price, because it is on the high side. 4.5 crores for this car, between 4 to 4.5 crores on road, which is on the expensive side, but you get a lot of special bits with this car. First and foremost, it's very unique. Unlike the Urus, which has become a common sight nowadays, okay, in Lamborghini showrooms, not on the road as such, but every day on Instagram I see there's a new Urus which was delivered in some or the other shade as such. You don't have to worry about driving this car in the rain. Just imagine me driving an Aston Martin with the traction control off in this weather condition without flinching an eyelid on full throttle and full gas, just because this car is so freaking capable, so easy to drive as well. And then when you get into the throttle, absolutely bonkers fast. Trust me, life is not about 0 to 100 km/h timing, because it kind of lacks in that regard. It's slower than the Urus by more than 0.6 or 0.7 of a second. But for those who want to feel special and enjoy driving the car, this is the Aston Martin to get. Now, of course, not everyone's going to drive it daily, even if they get one, but at least you have it in your mind. My Aston Martin can do a lot of things. I don't have to worry about the bad roads or the potholes or the speed breakers or none of that bullshit, but you have to worry about one thing, which is too much attention. Girls who don't even know cars have 4 wheels, they have been turning and looking at the car, following it and taking pictures. That is the level of attention it attracts, which is absolutely mind-bogglingly insane. Okay, you know, with this car, you can't be discreet, and James Bond is not discreet, so obviously he drives one for sure. Okay, we are going to launch again. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, and off we go. I'm just going to enjoy some downshift so you guys can hear it. But the rain has spoiled the vlog today, I think, but it's made the vlog more dynamic, because of the rain now you can't really hear much of the exhaust, but it is loud enough. It is fantabulous, and that exhaust is not like subtle at any moment. It is always on the boil. You turn on the car, even when you're not in the sport mode where the exhaust valves open, it's still very, very, very vocal there, and the vocalness is such that you know there is something massive right ahead of you. When you turn on the car, there's this roar with which it turns on, and it's like always there. Even at slow speeds you can hear it, you can feel it, and then the throttle response is mind-blowing as well. So guys, this is my vlog of the Aston Martin DBX. I think it's a fantastic machine, really amazing to drive, and for 4.5 crores is definitely very expensive, but whoever said good things come for a price was absolutely right. And on that bombshell, it's time to end. If you like this vlog, make sure to give it a thumbs up, that's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye bye. I am not leaving driving this car. I'm just going to do it all day long.